Hello, welcome to Face to Face with me. I'm Desi Anwar, in a program that brings the world to your screen and where we meet people who make a difference to our lives. In the world of employment, often employers and workers don't quite see things eye to eye. This often results in friction between employers and workers, leading to strikes, labor protests, as well as loss of productivity that could impact negatively on the country's economy. Now, the question is how to find the balance between respecting workers' rights and welfare, as well as making sure that businesses can be sustainable and productive. For this episode, I talked to Director General of the International Labour Organization, Ryder, to talk about labour issues here on Face to Face with Desi Anwar. Everywhere around the world, not just in Indonesia, employment is an issue. Economic crisis creates unemployment, which in turn can create social problems. But having employment can cause problems too, such as when the workers and the employers don't see things eye to eye, especially on issues such as salaries, working conditions, the level of productivity, and employee benefits. The many labour strikes that occur in Indonesia on a regular basis are clear examples that labour issues are still very much an ongoing problem in Indonesia. Ideally, there should be a job for everyone that is suited to their skills and interests and, at the same time, allow them to make a decent living. A job that contributes to the prosperity of society and also conducted in good working environment. I'm interested to know how Indonesia has progressed when it comes to creating decent employment for the people and how we compare with other countries. And also, what exactly constitutes decent work, not just in the eye of the workers and the employers, but according to international standards. For this, I talked to the Director General of the International Labour Organization, Ryder, during his recent visit to the country to a garment factory just outside Jakarta. The ILO's mission, after all, is to help advance the creation of decent work and the economic and working conditions that give working people and business a stake in lasting peace, prosperity, and progress. Mr. Ryder, it's great to have you here in Indonesia. Tell us a little bit about your visit to Indonesia, the purpose, and who have you met and what you discussed, and your main points of interest.
Well, I've been here this is my third day in Indonesia, and for most of the time up until now we've been in Jakarta. We've met with the government authorities, had some extensive meetings with the Minister of Manpower. I was received by the Vice President of the country yesterday. Also conversations with the employer community and with the trade unions. And really my first objective is to get a feeling, a first-hand feeling for developments, the challenges in the world of work here in Indonesia. And it's quite interesting. The first time I came here was 20 years ago. So I've been able to... A lot has changed. And I've been able to measure, I think, the extent of change, which is very significant and very positive, but also to identify the challenges that lie ahead, and they're considerable as well. Okay,
so a little bit more of your impressions on how Indonesia has progressed in the last 20 years since your visit, and what are the main issues being discussed and the priorities that you think Indonesia should be focused on when it comes to
I think you can measure the progress along sort of two axes. The first one is democracy and rights. I think Indonesia has come a very long way. 20 years ago the situation was a little bit different. But that said, I think what is really spectacular has been the extent of economic growth. Indonesia, with all of the ups and the downs and the bumps in the road, has grown quickly, and I think Indonesians have felt the benefits of that fast growth. And you're still at 5 or 6%. That's pretty good. Not too bad.
Especially considering the global financial
in
economic
other places. Absolutely.
Situation.
So good progress. But what are the challenges ahead? Well, one thing about Indonesia is it's a young and growing population. So the economy has to keep growing so that young people coming onto the labour market can find a job. Indonesia has to create 2 million new jobs every year. There are 2 million new people coming on the labour market. So job creation is continually, I think, a challenge. At the same time, it's not a luxury. Indonesia has to look at the quality of the jobs. In the ILO, we talk about decent work, and Indonesians want and need decent work. And there are some challenges there. I mean, that's why visiting this garment factory is so interesting. The garment industry is a very important part of Indonesia's development project. And it's important that the people who come and work in this garment factory have good conditions, have good pay, have the right to be heard, have the right to organise. And we're working with our Indonesian partners to ensure that is the case. If I could identify one more challenge, which I think is really essential, it's about skills. It's about skills and training. You've got a big challenge ahead of you in Indonesia, which is the ASEAN Economic Community as of next year. I think if Indonesia is really going to get the maximum benefits from that community, you need the skilled workforce, you need the educated workforce that will be able to compete in the economy of the future. More and more the economy of the future is about knowledge, is about skills. So I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges that Indonesia
especially
has
if we
ahead.
want to be competitive and take advantage of the ASEAN
Absolutely.
Economic Community, where there will be more sort of job opportunities.
There will be indeed, but I think all of the studies that have been done show that the new opportunities will be for higher skilled workers. Now, Indonesia can go one of two ways.
Yes.
You can be successful through higher skills, higher productivity, and therefore higher wages, or you can try and compete on being cheap, having low wages. I think that's a dead end. I think that would be the wrong way to go.
Yeah, creating value is therefore
Moving
very
up
important.
that value chain.
Okay.
Yes.
Just a couple of issues that you mentioned. Well, first of all, what do you think of what's your impression of the garment factory that you just visited?
You've got here a very significant number of working people. I can imagine how important this factory is for the community in which it's located. These are probably jobs that matter a great deal. So the fact that this company is successful, is growing, is already very important. What I think also is important, and with the ILO we are cooperating on this with our Better Work programme, is the rights of workers are respected here. Working conditions are satisfactory. We've just taken a look around. Pay and other conditions are decided by negotiations. I just met with the union representatives. They said, well, yeah, the negotiations were tough. We had to argue about the money. But it's okay. It's okay. We get our voice heard and we get a deal. So to answer your question, I think this is really what the garment industry should look like, how the garment industry should operate. And I think it's very important that we recognise that this is an international industry, very, very tough competition.
Especially this is for export products.
Absolutely. International in two senses, that what is made here goes to other countries, it's mostly exported. And those buyers in Europe and in America are tough people. They want good quality goods and they want it cheap. So the pressures on the producers are big. But international is industry as well because it's very mobile. They can pick up and go to another country very quickly.
Yes, they're going to say, okay, this is too expensive, the cost or the quality is not that good, we just pick another country.
And in garments it's really easy because the capital is mobile, startup costs are actually quite low. So they can pick up and go. But what I think is important is that these companies make a commitment to the people, to the communities, to the economy in which they operate, and are successful. Because I think one of the first things you expect from a company is it's successful. It's no good if a company goes broke. You have no jobs, no income.